last month for a weekend visit. The first since Nora was born. Saturday afternoon, my husband took Aaron upstairs to show off the nursery while Nora napped, and I dealt with the laundry avalanche in our room down the hall. My phone was propped on the dresser with the monitor out open, the way it always is. The camera light isn't obvious, and honestly,
It's Hardee, you get lost.
Their voices came through my phone speaker. Low, careful not to wake her. Aaron said the normal things. She's beautiful. The room looks great. Then in the tone men only use when they think no one's listening, he said, "So tell me the truth. How are you actually doing? You went quiet on everybody for like 2 years." I kept folding onesies. I wasn't even snooping. I was just there. My husband exhaled this long, unguarded sound over his nose and said, "Honestly, I don't know how I got here. You know we were basically done before she got pregnant. I had the apartment listing saved on my phone. I'd written half the speech." Aaron said something too quiet to catch, and my husband went on. Then she showed me the test, and she was so happy, man. What was I supposed to do? Hand her a leave printout? So I stayed. And then Aaron kept telling me a baby changes everything, and I kept waiting for it to change everything. Aaron asked, did it? The pause was long enough that I stopped folding. My husband said, "I love that little girl more than my own life." That part's real. The rest of it, I show up, I do it right, you'll never hear anything different from me. Some men get the whole thing. I got him text. Then Nora started, and then flipped out, and my app went quiet, and I stood in my bed and held his soft in my hands like a baby. The clip paused for 10 seconds at a time. Then usually a little thing, constant. I know because I've watched them more nights than I want to admit. Here's what I understood immediately standing there. The proposal in the garden from 6 feet down to the pregnancy. The tears in the room. I had been reading them in the wrong language for 4 years. He wasn't overcome. He was committed. There's a difference. And when I tried to compose the sentence 100 times, and every version ended our daughter's family. So I just went still instead. I stopped telling her what I did. Stopped laughing at it and doing it. Stopped touching the bag when I passed behind him in the kitchen. The thing I'd done unconsciously for years until the day I became conscious of it. I stepped forward towards the bedside of the room, and he noticed because showing up and doing it right is his whole religion. He planned a date night. He bought the bakery bread I love. He started saying, "I love you, Nora," and each time he ended like a man making a female love something. His mother visited and told me Nora had told us the first week after the baby and patted my hand and a smile into my face. Last night, he finally sat me down at the kitchen table after Nora went to sleep. He took both my hands and he was sometimes he explained, "You look at me, it's nerve. Whatever it is, just fine. I can fix anything." He was so committed. So I picked up my phone and I started Saturday afternoon. I cut the phone down between us.
Please give me a little time.
Then his own face said, "Honestly, oh my God.
Please give me a little time.
I'll be on air.
Stop! That looks terrible! Every time I hear the word on this! Try this! Last year. Why did my in-laws call it in the meeting asking me to step out on my own person? As I went, my husband's sister Nina stood up to give her toast, and the room was quiet. She talked for 3 minutes about their childhood without mentioning me once. Then she looked right at me. I hope she knows how lucky she is that I'm allowing her to have you. Everyone laughed, but my smile froze on my face. During our first dance, I watched her sob into her hands until her mom walked her outside. His mom grabbed my arm at the reception. We have a special bond, so don't be the jealous one. I had no idea what she was saying. My in-laws invited us to their lake cabin for a week, and they drove us, so leaving early wasn't an option. Something felt wrong the second we walked through the door. Nina came downstairs and I stopped breathing. She was wearing my dress, the exact sage green dress I wore to his birthday last year. She caught me staring and laughed. "You didn't think you were the only one with taste, did you?" I pulled his mom into the kitchen. "She's wearing my exact dress." She rolled her eyes. "She probably forgot you had it, so stop starting drama." At dinner, Nina sat right next to my husband and kept touching his arm every time she laughed. I watched her lean into him while I sat across the table. My husband finally moved his chair closer to mine, and Nina's face went cold for just a second before she smiled again. Then my husband came back from the walk looking like he had seen a ghost. He sat on the edge of the bed and told me Nina followed him to the dock and grabbed his hand and asked how he settled for me when she was right here the whole time. I told him we needed to leave. He said we had no way out until the week was over. I went straight to his mom. She laughed in my face. "She's just emotional, so stop making everything about her." That night I woke up and saw a shadow moving under our door. I crept across the room and opened it.
Here, please.
I wait for someone to laugh, but nobody does. My husband steps forward. "You're asking my wife to leave our marriage for Nina and that favor? Do you hear yourself?" His dad nods like this is reasonable. Just a few months apart so she can tell. "You owe her heard that. My husband pulls out his phone and puts it directly into his mom's hands. Then he makes what your daughter has actually been doing. Her face as she scrolls through the text. She sets the phone down gently on the coffee table. She's hurting. People say things they don't mean. My husband's voice rises. She called my wife a temporary obstacle. She said things were about to change. How is that okay? His mom just shrugged. You're overreacting like you always do. Then Nina stops crying. The tears shut off like a faucet. She stands up and looks at me with this smug little smile. See? They know what I've known all along. He was always mine, and you just got to him before I let you know. She steps closer until we're inches apart. I've been patient for years while you played house with something that belongs to you.
And
And
I cry. It's me here 6 slots. No. No. Me here
His mom still calls from random numbers.
in 3 seconds.
Why did my in-laws call a family meeting asking me to
3
step back from my
seconds
home?
later.
My older sister stood up to give her testimony in the room with my
3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1.
The other two boys went dead silent.
It's 6 o'clock.
It was nothing. Tyler, sweetie, what do you mean by finish what he started? He shrugged. I don't know exactly. But last time I saw Mom, her whole face was purple, and she couldn't move her left arm. It was just kind of hanging there. Oh my God. Jake leaned over and whispered, Mom, that's why Tyler's been doing sleepovers everywhere.
6
5 different houses this month. My heart stopped. I thought this kid just loved sleepovers. So Tyler, where's your mom right now? Some women's shelter downtown. She calls from block number sometimes. His voice cracks, but they don't take boys over 10. So I just crashed wherever people let me. This 12-year-old was essentially homeless, and we'd all been clueless. What about your dad? Doesn't he have you? Oh, yeah, he has full custody. Legally. Mom left without court permission, so now she's technically the criminal. He laughed, but it sounded wrong. Dad's lawyer made her look totally insane in court. Wait, his lawyer? I felt my stomach drop. Tyler, what's your last name? Martinez. Why? No freaking way. Tyler Martinez? Your dad is David Martinez. Yeah, you know him? Martinez versus Martinez. The case sitting on my desk at Morrison and Associates for the past month. David Martinez was our client. Successful hedge fund manager claimed his wife had severe mental illness. I literally helped prep his custody documents last week. Mom? Jake's voice cut through my spiral. You okay? He looked really pale. I pulled into a McDonald's parking lot and turned around. Tyler, I need you to be honest with me. Did your dad ever hurt you? The car went silent. Tyler's eyes filled with tears. He doesn't hit me. He just makes sure I know what happens to people who betray him. He shows me pictures of Mom's face after, sends them to my phone so I remember what happens to liars. I felt sick. I am Mom's lawyer. She had a public defender for like 5 minutes. The dad's legal team buried her. His main lawyer is apparently some aggressive big firm who
A lemon.
every molecule of air at the door. I only saw your dad's side of the story. It's always that. Tyler's voice went flat. He's really good at that. Jake grabbed my arm. Mom, you're not actually helping that cycle, are you? Before I could answer, my phone went off. Text from David Martinez. Did you file a motion to restrict her visitation? Judge wants it by Monday. I stared at that text. Send it Tyler in my rearview mirror. This kid has been living out of the bathhouse. I opened my email and typed, I resign effective immediately. Find new counsel for Martinez versus Martinez. Jake, we're not going home now. Tyler, I need your mom's number. Within 2 hours, I have Sarah from legal aid on Twitter. Tyler's mom crying in a Panera while I and my former boss leaving me 11 angry voicemails. It took 9 minutes, emergency motions, three judges, teachers who finally found the courage to testify, hospital records David's team had left. The judge's face when she saw those photos. I'll never forget it. Emergency custody granted. Restraining order issued. David's legal team tried to bury him, but we have the truth, and I know everything. I was there when Tyler saw his mom again. He sprinted across the courthouse and no one knocked her over. She dropped to her knees, holding him, and I had to turn away because I was coincided with the release of Yan. You were helping him destroy me. I know, I'm so sorry. Let me fix it. I was driving my son's friends home from soccer when one of them said, thanks for the ride. My real mom can't take me anymore. She's hiding from my dad. The Spotify playlist kept playing, but everything else stopped.
My dad asked me to sign over my house to my older brother Andrew because his girlfriend was pregnant. He said Andrew should go real stuff and I could rent it. Like the house I bought myself with extra furniture. Then I went home, changed every lock, planted a no trespassing sign at the driveway, and stopped answering their calls. Andrew had always been a family emergency. If he quit a job, he was funding himself. If I worked nights to pay for college, I was raising a character. They paid for his university, his car, his recap, and
This one is on semi
I
one.
figured things out. At 27, I had saved enough for a down payment. The house was a 3-bedroom ranch 40 minutes outside the city. It needed floors, windows, and someone stubborn enough to know I became that person. I sanded floors after work. My parents came once, had the kitchen cramped, complained about the food, and left without finishing the job. Then Beth and we got married, and suddenly Andrew's one-bedroom apartment was not good enough for fatherhood. They had decent jobs, new phones, and they were great. Somehow, the baby needed my house. One Sunday, Dad called me to visit. Mom made apple pie. They told me everything. She only made it when she wanted a favor for Andrew. After dinner, Dad called me to sign on the table. Andrew and Bethany need stability. He said, your house is perfect. I looked at her. He stared at me. She smiled. house. We lived there alone. 3 bedrooms is a lot. So Andrew should find one. Like I did. That's bad. You bought it the right time. You got lucky. I worked 2 jobs. That was not luck. He waved that away. Family help's splendid. Then he said it like he was asking me to pass his phone. Sign the house over to your brother. Nobody laughed. Nobody collected it. You want me to give Andrew my house? Not give, Mom. We had to I owned a home. They were offering rent on it, but Andrew finally looked up. I'm trying to do right by my family. You're trying to take my house. Dad always said, you have a baby house, and I have a mortgage. Attached to a house with my name. North Face people. You've always been selfish. I landed because you said it for you guys. I stood up. Dad told me to sit down. And just think about it. So I said, fine, I'll think about it. I drove home safely. Started to course I rebuilt myself. They thought Andrew deserved it because he had skipped the hard part and arrived at the emergency. The next morning, I called a lot. By lunch, every lock was changed. At dinner, the sign was
And
up.
there is
Something belonged to Andrew. Paperwork was just an option. 2 days later, Dad showed up and tried to go too. I watched his face change when he
everything by myself.
Yeah, you're down there. Good job, Heidi. You think I'd come in without permission? I think you'd do
This
anything.
one
Andrew, he looks fascinating.
is for this
No,
kid.
the call started after that. Mom, Andrew took care of that. Becky apologized for making 50 not when we were asking for the house for free. I told her it still did not involve my home. Then Dad called for that. One morning, I found him in my backyard, looking at my roof. He said he accepted I paid and what the house was worth now. Then he passed it out. How can you care? He said. It would be a shame if something
Now
happened while
he
you were being stubborn.
posted
Are you threatening my
one.
house? I'm saying people regret making enemies out of family. I pointed to the driveway. Get off my property. That afternoon, I installed cameras. A week later, a lawyer called it a family property dispute. My attorney answered, the house was mine, the deed was mine, and any further contact would be treated as harassment. Then my county alert went off. I sent the notice to my attorney and saved the camera clip of Dad in my backyard. Funny how fast family stops helping when consequences have addresses. Andrew eventually moved into a condo. Mom sent nursery photos to the group chat and wrote, so proud of Andrew for doing this on his own. I muted it. When my niece was born, I texted, congratulations. Mom invited me over. I went to Home Depot instead. These days, my house is quiet. The locks work. The cameras work. The deed is still in my safe. Sometimes I sit on the porch and look at the sign by the driveway. No trespassing. Funny how 3 words said what my family never could. Parents, what's the smartest...
Oh my god.
4 reasons to get your kids an Acorns early.
Parents, what's the smartest lesson you accidentally taught your kid? When my son Jake was 12, I had one rule about his allowance. You get $20 every 2 weeks, but if you spend it all in the first 3 days, that's it. No advances, no loans, no emergency cash. I wasn't trying to be harsh. I just grew up poor and wanted him to understand money doesn't grow on trees. My parents bailed me out constantly as a kid, and I turned into a financial disaster in college. First month with the new system, Jake blew through his entire allowance in one afternoon.
I like that.
At Target, energy drinks at the gas station, some ridiculous fidget spinner from the mall. Day 4, he's standing in my office doorway looking pathetic. Dad, please, all my friends are going to see the new Marvel movie, and I'll pay you back next allowance, I swear. I almost caved. The kid had those puppy dog eyes down to a science. What's our rule about allowance, Jake? No advances, he mumbled, kicking at the carpet. So what are you going to do? He stormed off to his room and slammed the door. I could hear him texting his friends, probably telling them his dad was being unreasonable. I felt like garbage, but held firm. Week 2, the exact same pattern. $20 gone in the day on video game skins and Taco Bell. I wanted money for the school book fair. Dad, there's this book series everyone's reading, and it's educational, so technically it's not even fun spending. Jake, what's our rule? This time he didn't even argue, just walked away looking completely defeated. My wife started giving me dirty looks, saying I was being too strict, but something weird shifted after that. Third allowance period rolled around, and Jake wasn't asking for anything. He'd disappear for hours after school, but never once came to me wanting money. I figured he'd just accepted defeat and was being more careful with his spending. Maybe the lesson was finally sinking in. Then Mrs. Chen from 3 houses down knocked on our door on a Tuesday evening. I hope you don't mind me bothering you, but I wanted to talk about your son. My heart dropped. What had he done now? Jake has been walking my dog Princess every single day after school for the parents. What's the smartest lesson you accidentally...
4 reasons to get your kids.
What's the most satisfying way you've ever been proven right? 3 months after we moved into our new house, I woke up in the middle of the night to a cracking sound inside the wall. I shook my husband Oren awake and asked if he heard it. He told me I was dreaming and went back to sleep. A week later, I found sawdust on the floor near the baseboards and showed it to him. He laughed and said, that's just dust. You're being paranoid. I told him to call someone to check it out, and he said, I'm not wasting $300 because you heard a noise. I let it go for a few months, but the sounds got louder and I started finding more sawdust in different rooms. I told Oren we needed to get a house inspector, and he slammed his hand on the counter and said, there's nothing wrong with this house. I looked at every inch of it before we bought it.
Hey,
Are you calling me stupid?
it's
I said I wasn't calling him anything, and I just wanted peace of mind. He said, you want peace of mind?
Oh.
Stop making up problems that don't exist.
Igor.
The next week we had dinner with
Hey,
his parents, and his
it's
mom
me.
asked how we were
It's
settling
me,
into the new
Rudy.
house. Before I could say anything, Oren laughed and said,
Oh.
great, except my wife thinks we have ghosts in the walls. His dad chuckled
Hey,
and said,
it's
huh?
me.
Oren said, she
It's
hears
me,
scratching
Rudy.
sounds and thinks the house is falling apart. I keep telling her she's
Oh.
imagining things. I tried to explain about the sawdust, but Oren cut me off and said, see what I deal with? She finds a speck of dust and thinks the sky is falling. Everyone laughed, and I sat there with my face burned. A few months later, I found a hole in the baseboard in our bedroom, and I took a picture and showed it to him. He rolled his eyes and said, you know what your problem is? You look for things to worry about. You're never happy unless you have something to complain about. I called an exterminator myself and scheduled an appointment for the following week. When Oren found found out, he canceled
Making
it
a
and screamed at me for
splat
20 minutes about wasting money and going behind his back. He said, if you ever do something like that again without asking me first, we're going to have a serious problem. He stopped bringing it up after that,
Let's
but the
shape
sounds
this
kept getting worse,
giant
and I kept
glittery
finding more
ball.
damage. I found sawdust in the kitchen, in the
Turn
living
this
room,
giant
in the
glittery
hallway near
ball
the back
and
door that led
lights
to the deck. I took pictures of
like
everything and kept them on my phone. When Oren
Fill in
announced
my
he wanted to go
squish
a
toy
house
with
warming party
water
before
until
other
he
closest friends and family,
explodes.
I begged him to at least get the deck inspected first. He laughed in my face and said, "You're actually insane. You know that, right? Like, clinically insane." I said I was serious and I was worried about the deck with that many people on it. He grabbed my phone and deleted all the pictures I had taken. Then he said, "If you embarrass me at this party with your crazy permit nonsense, I will never forgive you." The night that the party came and the house was hot, Oren had set up a bar on the deck, and there were at least 30 people out there drinking and laughing. I found him in the kitchen and quietly told him I really didn't think that many people should be on the deck at once. He smiled at me with pure contempt and said loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear, "Everyone, my wife thinks the deck is going to collapse. She's been doing voices in the walls for 2 years." People laughed nervously. Oren said, "Hey, she thinks we are criminals. I told her 100 times there's nothing wrong with it. She won't listen." His friend tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Women, am I right?" Oren grinned and said, "Watch this." He walked to the back door and shouted, "Everyone on the deck, I want to make a toast." More people flooded outside. I grabbed his arm and said, "Please don't do this." He yanked away and said, "Shut up and stop embarrassing me." Oren stepped onto the deck, holding his drink in the air and started giving a speech about our beautiful new home. There were at least 40 people gathered out there. I heard a creak, then a groan. I screamed for everyone to get off the deck. Oren turned to me with fury in his eyes.
Tutorial how to make water squishy drop.
This is the best
15 feet onto concrete and broken wood, screaming everywhere. I
Hey,
saw Oren
it's my
on the ground
first
with
time
the
at
name
St.
across his
Honoré.
legs and blood on his face. His mother had a bone sticker on. His friend who said, "Women, am I right?" wasn't moving at all. Sirens came 20 minutes later, and the paramedics said it was the worst structural failure they'd seen in years. An inspector came the next day and said the entire support system had been eaten through like concrete. He said it was a miracle moment. 14 people sued Oren personally after my lawyer showed him the text messages where I begged him to get an inspection and he refused. I got the house from the divorce and he got the debt.
They don't come to the wedding after they complained about our wedding too much. Me and my fiance Eli were 2 months out from our wedding when this whole thing started. We booked a lakeside hotel called Pinecrest, the kind of place with string lights over the patio and a dock you can take pictures on. We were paying for everything: room, food, drink, parking, the whole weekend. 80 guests, and every single one of them cost us about $600 a head once you added it all up. We knew that going in and we didn't care. It was our wedding. Everybody RSVP'd on time except one couple, my cousin Denise and her husband Paul. We sent the invite in March. We got and got silence both times. My mom finally got Denise on the phone and licked her line. Denise said, "Oh yeah, we're coming. Sorry, we've been busy. No RSVP card ever showed up." Then last Tuesday, a month before the wedding, Denise sent me a message on Facebook, 4 paragraphs long. She said driving 4 hours each way was going to wear them out. She said the whole weekend sounded exhausting, with the rehearsal dinner Friday, and the ceremony and reception Saturday, and brunch Sunday. She said they'd probably just come to the ceremony and part of the dinner Saturday, then go back to their room early, because Paul doesn't do well at big parties past 9. She also brought up our dress code. We're doing white tie. She said it felt like a lot to ask people to buy formal wear for one night. Here's the thing. Denise and Paul don't have to buy anything. I've seen Paul in a tux at his own brother's wedding. Denise had a black gown she wore to the gala last fall. I saw the picture. Their biggest ask was cost was gas, because we were covering their room and every meal all weekend.
to the body.
And had to read it twice.
Why
I
are
told
you
Eli. He got
going
quiet. Then he said,
slow?
"Just tell her not to
Mother's
bother. I
going
typed it out myself, so it would come from
slow.
me since she's my cousin. I told her that if the weekend sounded that tiring, it was probably better for everyone to skip it. I said we weren't mad, because people would have weddings all the time and there'd be no hard feelings, but that we'd take them off the list. I hit send before I could second guess it. Denise said it was confirmed 20 minutes later. Paul texted Eli saying we were doing dramatic over white on his email. By that month, Denise had blocked me and Paul stopped responding entirely. My mom said maybe we came in too hot, but I wasn't spending $1,200 hosting 2 people who'd already told me they didn't want to be there. The wedding happened 3 weeks later. Beautiful day, clear sky, no rain. Eli cried during the vows, and so did I. We were in the middle of the first dance when one of the groomsmen tapped Eli's shoulder and pointed at the entrance. Denise and Paul were standing at the check-in table by the lobby, dressed up, suitcase wheels still spinning behind them, telling the hotel staff they were on the guest list. Eli walked over before I could, and followed right behind him in my dress. Denise said they'd changed their minds. They didn't want to miss it, but we could work out the room situation later. Paul wouldn't look at either of us. My Uncle Frank, Denise's own brother, walked up behind them and said, "Just tell them, Denise." She went quiet. Frank said it for her. Turned out back in before I knew it. Eli's aunt had organized a group chat to pool money for a big joint wedding gift, an espresso machine, and a weekend trip voucher. And Paul had told everyone to send their share to him because he placed the order. He collected almost $400 from 6 different people and never bought a thing. He'd been avoiding the wedding entirely, so he wouldn't have to hand anyone a gift he never paid for. The complaints about gas money and dress codes were never about gas money or dress codes. They were stalling so they wouldn't have to show up empty-handed in front of people who trusted them with cash. Showing up uninvited wasn't guilt about missing our day. It was Paul panicking because Frank had already told 2 other relatives what he'd done. And Paul figured if he just walked in smiling, nobody would bring it up in front of the crowd. Frank did anyway. Right there by the check-in table, in front of the hotel staff and half the wedding party spilling out of the ballroom to see what was going on. He told Denise and Paul to either pay back what they owed by the end of the week, or he'd be calling every person on that group chat himself. Security walked them both to their car 20 minutes later, suitcase still packed, dress shoes never worn. Eli and I went back inside and finished our first dance like nothing happened. I told my guests it's better they don't.
I changed the locks on my house flinches at loud noises. Her face dropped. She stopped having friends over. Stopped wanting to leave her room. I took her to see different therapists. They said it was probably just puberty or something. Some kids have a harder time. One of them told me. I believe them. Everyone has
I'm the
Day
game.
2 of filling up a squishy with water until I reach 1,000 followers.
just dramatic. You know how she is. I didn't push it.
What
Two weeks ago,
is
I came home early from work. Alea's car was in the driveway. I walked
follows?
inside and heard something from upstairs. Holly's voice, muffled, crying. Then Alea's voice, low and calm.
You
Too calm.
reached
Not crying.
1,000 follows in day 2.
If you tell Mom, I'll make it worse. You know I will. I always do. I couldn't move. Say it back to me. Holly's voice, barely a whisper. You'll make it worse. Good girl. A door opened. I ducked into the kitchen. Alea came downstairs humming. Grabbed a yogurt from the fridge and smiled. Oh, hey, Mom. Didn't know you were home. I smiled back. I don't know how. That night, I ordered a camera online. 2 days later, I installed it in the hallway outside Holly's room while both girls were at school. I told myself I was overreacting, that I'd misheard, that Alea was just being a bossy older sister. The footage came in the next night. I watched it after everyone went to bed. Timestamp 11:47.
You'll be dropping a what
Alea's
you would
door
never
opened.
guess.
She walks to Holly's room.
15
Tries the
minutes
handle.
ago,
Locked.
this
She
is
pulled
a
something out of her pocket.
Aquafalt is the first permanent patch material that's completely water activated. It doesn't matter the weather or the season. Just pour, wet, and apply. 24 hours later, you're rock solid and ready to roll. You would never guess. 15 minutes ago, this is a pop. Aquafalt is the first permanent.
Remember that. She walked out 12 minutes later, closed the door quietly, went back to her room like 9 times. I sat in the dark for an hour. Then I went back through the footage every night for 6 nights. She went into Holly's room 5 of them. The dresser Holly pushed against the door. Alea moved it out of the way like it was nothing. A lock? She had a copy made months ago. My 13-year-old had been barricading herself in her room every night, and it still wasn't enough. I called the locksmith the next morning. I had Alea's things packed by noon. When she got home from work and saw her bags on the porch, she laughed. I tried the viral water bottle squid. You can't be serious. I have footage, Alea. 6 nights of it. She went pale. I don't know what you think you saw, but I heard you. If you tell Mom, I'll make it worse. I heard all of it. She didn't say anything for a second. Then she tried a different angle. Her eyes got soft. Her voice got shaky. Mom, I'm struggling. I've been going through a lot, and I took it out on her. I know that's not an excuse, but I can get help. I can do better. Please don't do this to me. I just looked at her. How long do you think you lived to her?
Dropping a water squishy from a balcony.
Throwing your own daughter out
Oh,
of the
this
street.
is
I guess they will. She grabbed
22
her bag and got in the
minutes.
car. Didn't look. My mother called me heartless. My sister said I was throwing away Alea's future. Alea told everyone I kicked her out over a small argument. Funny, that's exactly what she called it when Holly tried to tell me something was wrong last year. It was a small argument, Mom. She's being dramatic. But Holly doesn't push her dresser against the door anymore. She doesn't flinch when someone walks up the stairs. Last week she asked if her Ben could come over after school. She hasn't asked that in 2 years. I don't know how long this was going on. The therapist missed it. I know. But when Holly went to the last person, she looked at me and said, she can't get in now? No, baby. She can't get in. Holly slept at the door with a man. Boyfriend and I were 4 minutes into unpacking our new apartment. Grab a coffee from the place downstairs. Whatever's easy, he said. Surprisingly, I got 2 flat whites, the way I take mine, because I didn't know he had a way. When I came back up, he was sitting on a moving box, staring at the wall like the movers had stolen something. I set his cup next to him and made a joke about him looking like the microwave had personally insulted him. He didn't smile. He stood, walked into the bathroom, and shut the door. And when he came out 10 minutes later, his eyes were red and he wouldn't look at me. Marcus, what's wrong? Nothing. He picked up his phone and started typing with his thumbs going a mile a minute. Did I do something? Talk to me. He put on his shoes. I need some air. And he left. In a building he'd lived in for exactly 90 minutes, leaving me standing in a sea of boxes holding 2 coffees. I called his brother, Theo, thinking maybe something had happened at work. Maybe someone was sick. Theo picked up on the second ring and his voice was already crossed. I heard what? Theo just walked out. Is he okay? A long, awful pause. I can't believe you did that to him. After everything he told you about his family. Did what? I bought coffee. You know exactly what you did. Click. I stood there pinching the bridge of my nose. I have replayed that coffee order 100 times. 2 flat whites. I don't know how 2 flat whites end a relationship. The next morning, I woke up to a screenshot of Marcus's story. A photo of him at brunch with his ex, Sloan, the one who screamed at me in a parking lot in front of me last spring. Captioned some people's best friend. It's been together 3 years. I called my sister and told her the whole thing.
I just got in 2024.
Done something monstrous. She was pregnant. And honestly, I think we need to do some real reflection. That's a cool thing to do. I read that message until the words stopped being words. I was calling out in yesterday's clothes when someone named his mom. My heart lifted. She feared to change it. I opened the door and her face was cut from granite. I came to thank you, she said, for showing us who you really are before my son wasted any more of his life. I bought him a coffee he asked me to buy. She laughed, and it sounded like a drawer full of silverware hitting the floor. And that, she said, is exactly why you were never going to be family. She turned and walked back to her car. An hour later, I drove to their house. Marcus was on the back patio with Theo, who stood up and crossed his arms the second he saw me like security at the door. Marcus, please, what did I do? He looked at the patio table. It was the test, and you failed it. What test? His mother appeared in the doorway and answered for him, flat and rehearsed, like a poem she'd been made to memorize as a girl. Every man in his family gives his partner one test. If they only think of themselves, you have your answer. She looked at me like I was gum on her shoe. I have never once in 3 years let anything I'm intolerant, and you brought him whole milk. He said surprise me. I got it when I guessed. Theo jumped in. 3 years and you never noticed he doesn't do dairy? Sloan brought him oat milk every time because she paid attention.
Go, 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 go.
He moved in with Sloan 4 months later. She screamed at a barista in front of me once, but sure, oat milk. His card is still saved in my delivery app. He never removed it. Every year, on the anniversary of the day he walked out of the apartment we signed a lease on together, a single flat white, whole milk, extra hot arrives at that house, paid for by him. My boyfriend and I were 40 minutes into unpacking our new apartment when he asked me to grab us coffees from the place downstairs. Whatever's easy, he said. Surprise me. I got 2 flat whites, the way I take mine, because I didn't know he had a way. When I came back up, he was sitting on a moving box staring at the wall like the movie was showing something. I sat down next to him and made a joke about him looking like the microwave had personally. What would the monthly payment be?
How could you lie to me?
Okay, let's see what happens.
It's called being in love.
You're awfully quiet. Everything okay? I'm concerned about Amy. She's acting a bit odd.
Being an artist in a small business.
Curiosity, what registers as odd to you? Her behavior. I have the feeling that she's hiding something. Don't worry
Hey,
about it.
it's my first time at St. Monterey. What are three?
It's
Making a
troubling me.
splat
I can't eat, I can't sleep, and don't even ask about the consistency of my bowel movements. You heard him, guys. Don't ask. Why would she keep something from me? No, I shared my body with that woman.
so
And my
dirty.
Netflix password. They recommended Stella got her groove back because of her.
Make it sticky.
Listen, nothing bad is going on.
Mix,
Didn't want you
mix.
to know that the work on her apartment was
Plop.
finished a couple weeks ago. I don't
Wait
understand.
5
She's
minutes.
enjoying living with you, and she didn't want it
Please
to end
work.
early. So she's deceiving
Splat.
me in order to
Splat.
spend more time with me.
Splat.
Yes. I feel
Splat.
both flattered and
Splat.
hurt. Like when people
Splat.
say I look like a skeleton
Splat.
from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Sticky.
Oh my God, that's who you look like.
Sticky.
It's not a big
Squish.
deal. It's a little white lie. Everyone does it. Well, I won't tolerate
Making a splat
deception in my relationship. I have no choice but to confront her. Don't
Come,
do
come.
that. You've got gold
Squish
here.
it.
Hang on to it until you're in trouble and
Big
then
W,
throw it in
W,
the
so
face.
dirty.
Why would you tell him that? That's terrible
Water.
advice. You wouldn't want to have anything on
Make it
Penny.
sticky.
Well, of course not. I'll take that as a yes.
Mix, mix.
Hey, good dear. Excellent.
Plop.
I'm very hungry. Yeah, speaking
Wait
of
5
which,
minutes.
what's going on with your apartment? Oh,
Please
they're still
work.
working on it. Interesting.
Splat.
Very interesting.
Splat.
We swung by her apartment
Splat.
on the way to the restaurant. They're going to be
Splat.
fixing it for a while.
Splat.
Wait,
Splat.
you saw her apartment.
I did. Still a mess.
Linda?
Sticky.
Yeah? Gee, are you big?
Rule 5.
Heavy? Why are you speaking
Guys,
Honey, remember what I taught you about daddy? A bad the ball, boo, beat a by the boo. Bell the bin, the ball, line the Bible. The bend, the ball, the bin. The bit, the ball, the ball.
Alright, stop that.
You stop that. Okay. What is going on?
Fine, I told her her apartment's been finished. You said it's not, so now I'm all confused.
Honey was just covering for me. My place has been ready for 2 weeks.
How could you lie to me?
She's enjoyed living with you. It's called being in love. Hey, I want to know why you lied about my apartment.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything.
Yes, it's okay. I'm sorry, but I lied about my apartment.
It's alright. Now that everything's out on the table, you think you two will keep living together? Despite recent events, I do consider our experiment in cohabitation to have been positive.
Are you saying you'd like to live with me?
I'm open to possibility. How could you lie to me?
She's enjoyed living with you. It's called being in love.
You're awfully quiet. Everything okay?
My mafia fiance and I were supposed to watch the World Cup together in the United States. On the day of our flight, I waited at the airport for 3 hours. Giovanni never came. It wasn't until night fell that my phone finally rang. Sorry, Bianca, he said. I forgot to tell you, Korea was too excited about the World Cup to sleep, so I brought her ahead. We just landed. We paused, then added, you can make your own way here. We'll see you at the stadium tomorrow. I stood there, frozen. I had been looking forward to this trip for months. After the match, we were supposed to fly to Hawaii and take our wedding photos. But because of one word from his childhood sweetheart, I was left behind. He didn't know I had turned down 2 major deals worth hundreds of millions just to make time for him. After a long silence, I let out a quiet laugh. I don't want to go anymore. You two enjoy yourselves. The next day, I saw Karina's post. In the photo, she stood arm in arm with Giovanni beside her seat, both of them smiling like a couple. Her caption read, thanks to Giovanni for being a photo with Messi, he never missed any important moment in my life. Cancel the wedding in 2 weeks. I was done. It was time to go back to being a princess. 3 days before the wedding, Giovanni and Karina finally returned to Switzerland. His cousin and a few friends had gathered at the estate to welcome them back. Karina came in dragging a suitcase full of gifts. Almost everyone got something. Premium cigars, aged wine, limited edition pocket watches. Everyone except me. These gifts just don't get Giovanni. Aren't they gorgeous? She glanced at me, then lifted a from her face. And this one too. He said, oh, to make me look elegant. Then she carefully took out a grocery signed by Messi. Her eyes shining. Giovanni used so many connections just to get me this autograph. Without him, I never would have gotten this close to my idol. It reminded me of last year when I asked Giovanni for an invitation to an art exhibition sponsored by his distant uncle. I have something important to handle there. He told me the tickets were sold out. Don't worry, he said, patting my head. It's just an art show. Nothing important. Compared to Messi, apparently, I was right. It simply hadn't been worth the effort. At that moment, Giovanni started to smile and asked, by the way, didn't you bring Bianca anything? Giovanni answered naturally, without the slightest discomfort. Bianca never liked these little things. No point wasting money. I lowered my eyes and laughed softly. So buying me a gift was a waste. True, his cousin said. Bianca has always been like that, but there's nothing she enjoys. Serena's different. She loved fun little things since she was a kid. Giovanni's family and friends had never liked me much. They thought I was too cold, too stiff, too hard to please. Unlike her parents who had grown up around them, knew how to ask for it and had fun in a second. More importantly, they thought I was an intern. Giovanni was an Italian American heir to the Vitale family, one of the strongest contenders to become the next one. If not for our college romance and his insistence, a woman like me never would have made it. Serena likes to remind me of that. You don't belong in this family, she would say. I'm not gonna have this all in your face, so behave yourself. In front of others, though, she was always delicate with her tone. Every conflict between us ended the same. Everyone making me feel like I was the problem. In the beginning, Giovanni had always stood by me. Water? He once flew halfway across Europe to buy me a gift.
You would never guess that 15 minutes ago, alcohol was the first material that's completely water active.
Protect you. Then he really did put me first. That was why I stayed no matter how much I fight. But somewhere along the way, he began accepting Karina's clinginess, his family's prejudice, and the fact that every time someone had to give way, it was me. Around me, glasses clinked and house. Giovanni! They cried out. United States. On the day of our flight, I waited at the airport for 3 hours. Giovanni never came. It wasn't until night fell that my phone finally rang. Sorry, Bianca, he said.
I didn't tell my ex his passport was revoked and caused him to miss his flight. So my ex-husband and I split up 2 years ago. We've got 2 kids together, an 8-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl. Things were actually decent between us until our daughter was born. That's when everything changed. He just became this completely different guy overnight. I tried to make it work for the kids' sake, but when I found out he was cheating, I was done. Filed for divorce immediately. The divorce took forever, over a year, because he fought me on everything. I got primary custody and the court ordered him to pay child support. Here's the thing though, he's never paid a single cent, not once. I make enough money to cover everything, so it's not like we're struggling. But I signed up for enforcement anyway because that money should go into savings accounts for the kids. He knows this, but he refuses to pay because he thinks we'll force him to talk. Like I'm gonna beg him for money or something. I just let enforcement handle it and stay out of it. Since he's so far behind on payments, enforcement started suspending everything they could. Driver's license, business licenses, all that. They send him notices in the mail every time something gets suspended, but I'm pretty sure he just throws them away without opening them. Now here's where it gets interesting. My family's from another country. I'm first-generation American, and my grandma passed away earlier this year. I decided I wanted to take the kids to visit family and see where she's buried. But legally, I needed my ex's permission to take the kids out of the country. I asked him, and he told me he was planning his own vacation to the same country at the same time. This is something he does every single time to take the kids anywhere. If we go to the beach, suddenly he's
I'm here. See you next